I knew I needed to cut my hair probably a year before I actually cut it.
A year.
I knew that the damage that was there was not going to fix itself. I would play with like long hair and like just being aware of it and making sure it doesn't get caught in things, or like, oh, my hair, I need to readjust it. Like, there was so many things that I didn't even realize that I was thinking about.
Yeah.
As opposed to concentrating on what am I doing, what's happening in this match, being present in that moment. This is forcing me to love my natural hair. Like, I was trying to manipulate and make it look a certain way and da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
This is actually...
She was like, no, this is your curl pattern. It forces you to be okay with what you look like when you wake up.
It forces you to be okay with what you actually look like.
It humbles you in the best way.
On today's episode of Texture Talks, I'll be speaking with doctor and professional rugby player Simi Pam. We discuss the turmoil behind playing professional sport and her experience seeking professional help from our incredible sponsors, Fulham Scalp and Hair Clinic, which this episode is actually brought to you by. These guys are an incredible black female mother and daughter-led Trichology facility based here in London, who specialise in afro and curly hair and have dedicated their lives to helping us finally find the solutions to our biggest hair care problems. I've had a consultation with them myself, and I honestly have learned so much about my hair from that one session. It does not matter what state your hair is in, just take a moment to go and invest in yourself. Go to their website at www.fulhamscalphairclinic.com and get an appointment booked so you can get your hair care journey back on track. Use my discount code TextureTalks5 to get 5% off your consultation fee. And please, don't forget to subscribe. If you're enjoying the show and you've been enjoying these episodes, it may take a second for you, but it means everything for me. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you enjoy the episode. Good day.
Hello.
How are you, Simi?
I am very well, thank you. How are you?
Good. I just have to say, you're glowing. You look fantastic.
It's the makeup, thanks.
No, it's not. You look stunning. But it's one of those where when you, I was going to try and find a cute way to say this, but stalk someone. There's no other way.
Research purposes.
Oh my God, yeah, when you do background research on somebody
your due diligence.
It means that you keep seeing them. So when you see them in real life, you're like, oh my God, you look the same.
Oh,
so that's a really big compliment. Sometimes people don't trust me.
I'm so glad.
Okay? It's a big old compliment. So there's so much to discuss. There's so much. There's actually a lot. So there is sport.
Yes.
Playing sport, how that actually caused damage, because I've watched some videos about it, but I want to know, like, from the horse's mouth, what that damage really looked like. I want to talk about how you feel when it comes to the femininity angle, because when I first cut my hair off, that was a whole internal dialogue. And then also having the rugby piece mixed into that. I want to talk about that. And I want to talk about getting professional help, because black people still really don't know about trichology.
Yeah.
They really don't.
100%.
Let's start from the beginning. When you first started playing, how old were we?
Almost 23.
I thought you were like 14.
It's actually funny. So we've got a match tomorrow, and it's like our community day. So for the team announcement, they were like, oh, everyone's sending baby pictures of you playing rugby. And everyone's sending pictures of them at like 5 years old, 7 years old. Mine is literally me as a 23-year-old woman.
Right.
And I was like, I can send you a baby picture. They're like, no, this is fine. And I was like, okay, fine.
Okay.
But yeah, I was an adult when I started playing rugby. I had always done sport. Sport has been a part of my life since I was about 3.
Yeah.
But the sport that I've done over the years has changed just based off of me and how I feel about sport. And like, you know, sport is something that I can't do social sport. I'm a competitive person.
What's social sport?
As in, like, just playing for fun. And like,
oh no, I know, we don't do that over here.
I get my fun from being really good, or like
from winning.
Getting better and winning.
Yes.
So I would always do sports, and then when I felt like I wasn't getting better or I wasn't enjoying the competitive side of it anymore, I would transition to another sport. So my sport before rugby was track and field. So I started as a sprinter.
Yes.
Transitioned into a shot putter. And that was like my bag for a little bit. I was like, okay, I'm going to the Olympics. I'm going to
I'm already planning.
I was like, yeah, it'll be fine. But then I stopped growing. So I capped at 5'3", which is not the ideal height for a thrower.
It's okay, still cute though, still cute.
And so I found that I was like working really hard and training hard, trying to like get better, but I just wasn't. And it wasn't so much like my technique or my strength. It was like something I literally had no influence over, like my
biology,
makeup. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was trying to work really, really hard. It's quite a lonely, monotonous sport as well. And I just wasn't seeing any improvements. I was turning up to competitions knowing that I wasn't going to be competitive.
No, I couldn't do that. Mentally, that
exactly. And I just was like, this is no longer fun anymore. So I thought I was burnt out. So I thought if I take a break from athletics, I'll come back refreshed, ready to go. So I took a year away from athletics. Lived up uni, did all the things that like I hadn't done as like an athlete. And so the year passed, and I remember I was penning a message to my coach at the time, being like, I've had my year off, I'm ready to go, all saying all the right things. Didn't send it because I was like, this is I'm lying. Everything I've said in this text is a lie.
It's a lie.
I've not missed it. I don't want to go back. I've actually really enjoyed myself not throwing. So then I didn't send it, and I was like, that was like my realization that I was done with athletics. But then the thought of not having sport in my life really depressed me. I wasn't ready for sport to be done, but I was done with athletics. But I was then like, okay, if I'm not going to do athletics, what sport can I do?
What are we doing?
Bearing in mind that, again, I was about to be 23. Like most people who do sport well start quite young. So I was like, oh dear. Whatever sport I choose, like, I'm probably going to be on the back foot. Maybe I'm not going to be as good, all of those things. But I'd heard a lot of times over the years from different people, like, oh, try rugby, women, like, play rugby. And I had always taken that to be like, oh, if you were a man, you would have been really good at rugby. I didn't realize
they meant in real time.
No, yeah, exactly. I had never had any exposure to women's rugby until I actively pursued it at uni. I didn't even know it was a thing, and rugby is not a sport that we watched in my household. Exactly. So like, I had literally had no idea that was something women did. So then a friend that I was on placement with, one of her housemates was a big part of the team. Like, so she was like, oh, you should go. I'll tell her that you're coming. Like, just try it. She loves it. Rock up. So I did. And I was like, hey, I don't know anything about rugby. I've never played, never watched it. But I just want a team sport. And I want to just like have a run around.
Why not?
Try something new. So I rocked up, sort of like, I think it was November 2017, right at the end of November. 2 weeks later, start of December, I played my first match, not knowing what was going on.
That's quick.
No, I didn't know what was going on, but the coaches were like, I think it'll put things into context for you. Like,
I mean, in an aggressive way, but sure, okay.
So I was like, are you sure? They're like, you'll be fine.
Are we sure about this?
They were like, you will be fine. And I was fine, and I loved it. And like, having that, like, the contact element and like the competitive element really put rugby into like perspective for me. And I was like, amazing. This is me. This is a lot of me. And so that's how like my journey into rugby.
No, I'm in my head, I'm thinking to myself, I've dabbled. I've dabbled in, I used to be incredibly fast. She's stiff now, but 100 metre, 200 metre, that was my bag. I actually did shot put for a little while. I know these are very small. You're sat there like, did you boot? I'm like, I did a little bit. And I enjoyed it. But the thing that I find interesting is that my hair's never come into it because I've never done sport long enough for my hair to be a factor. And if you think about, and I thought this the other day, if you think about even athletics, say sprinting. The way that these women have, especially black women, their hair just blowing in the wind. They've got weave, they've got wigs. I just thought, I guess it's fine. But then when you think about contact sport, that's different. When you first started, what was the situation with your hair?
So actually, when I first started playing, I was actually natural. So I had decided, so braids have historically like been my thing. Like, I have always had my hair braided. Like, it's just been the look that I go for. Like, I've dabbled with wigs and weaves and stuff.
But it's like the standard.
Yeah, braids is like my safe space. But when I was 21, I decided I wanted to go natural because I didn't like the feeling of having to hide my natural hair with braids.
You got that early. Well done, you.
So by the time I started rugby, I had been natural for a couple of years. So actually, like, hair wasn't even a factor for my first 2 years as a rugby player. It was when I graduated from university, and then, you know, so I studied medicine, so I graduated and I was like, okay, I'm working as a doctor now. So I wanted to braid my hair just for like ease because, you know, I wanted to have a hairstyle that could still look quote unquote professional at work, but still be like tied up and manageable for training. I didn't want the back and forth of, oh, I'm playing rugby in my natural hair, now it's all frizzy and sweaty and it's got grass in it, and I have to go to work. I just didn't want that. So I started doing braids again, sort of July 2019. And then because of just how easy it was and convenient, it just became something like I was just doing back to back to back out of convenience more so than anything. And then I realized, you know, when I was like, maybe like take a bit of a break from braids, but I then started to look at my natural hair and realized that like, oh, my twists out weren't as frizzy and like defined and thick as they used to be, or, you know, my hair's looking thinner and like, so I was trying the styles that I had been wearing, you know, at
when you were a
uni and
natural.
stuff.
And it's just not hitting in the same way.
And the thing that I had learned to love about my hair was its thickness, its texture, like its afro-ness basically. And so when I started to realize how limp and stuff it looked, I was like, oh God, I don't like how this looks. Like, this is not the natural hair that I've become accustomed to. And so then I would just keep putting it in braids.
It's a vicious cycle.
Very vicious cycle. And so the ends were thin, breaking at the edge, all of those things.
When do you make the decision to say, I might have to stop this?
I knew I needed to cut my hair probably a year before I actually cut it.
A year.
I knew that the damage that was there was not going to fix itself. So I knew that I would have to cut my hair at some point. But I always found a reason not to, or I was just like, well, I know I'm going to cut it, so I can just keep getting braids until I'm happy.
The logic.
I know, honestly, it was so bad. And I think one of the things that, a few things like pushed me to be like, right, you've got to cut it now. Our first match of the season last season, I played well, like, you know, our kit was really nice and it was a really sunny day, and I remember looking at the photos after the match and like, I could not look past the state of my hair in terms of like my hairline was pushed back. My like little puff was like so broken, like there was one where like my head is turned and like you can literally see through like
I know exactly what I've had that before.
It was paper thin and I was just like, I never post those photos, even though like I look really athletic. And actually finding rugby photos that you like of yourself is
can
very
imagine,
rare.
so you're like, damn!
So yeah, I really wanted to post them. I was like, I cannot look past this. To the point where I even tried to like edit them. Like,
I knew you were gonna say
oh my God.
On paint.
Oh, so I was trying to like fill in the, oh my God.
Oh my God,
so that was one thing. Another thing, based off of those photos, I then took photos of my hair from like my phone here with flash on, like all the perimeter, and I realized just how like thin it all was. And because I realized that before our next match, I tried to like put black eyeshadow to like again hide this, but then I was like, when I start sweating, it's going to look mad. I was like, you can't do this to me. This is ridiculous. And so those were the two main things really. Oh, and the third thing was when I went back to my hair braider to have the hairstyle that I was having. So I would have like a braided updo. When she was getting to the front, it was taking her forever.
To grip?
Yeah, there was nothing to grip. And I could and she was like, I used to like them like sort of straight. But she's having to like curve them.
Oh no, she's having to strategize.
Yeah. And those three things, I was like, oh no. It's enough. So I knew I had to cut my hair, and I had told people, I was like, I need to cut my hair.
Had you cut it before?
No.
You never had it short?
Never.
How did that make you feel?
I was nervous in terms of like just the adjustment because again, like I've never had short hair before, but I don't think I was, you know, too nervous about it because my mum has always had short hair. As long as I can remember. So it wasn't a case of, God, I'm gonna look crazy. But it was just, I have no idea like what I'm going to look like. And I'm someone who hair has always been like a real big way of expression. So I've had like bright colored braids before, long hair, like all those things. Like hair is something I really play around with. So I was just like, oh, if I cut it, then
you're restricted.
Yeah, exactly. And if I cut it for the reason of my hair needs to recover, that really does restrict me to.
You can't play with that.
You can't do anything. You just
leave it alone to grow.
Exactly.
It's boring.
So that was the thing. But I knew I needed to cut it because I was just like, I don't like how I'm feeling about how I look and how my hair is. So I had told some of my family members, and I actually came to London for my cousin. I think it was her birthday. Something like that. Or no, I had an event, and so I went to visit my cousin who lives here with her family. And she was like, I asked her to make me a wig in anticipation of this big chop that I didn't know was happening.
Yeah.
Just in case I really, really
And you
hated
had
it.
a plan B.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she made it for me. So I went to her house to go pick it up and try it. And the plan was that she was going to wash my hair, cornrow it, and then like put it on. Like it was just like a little closure. Like it wasn't anything that needed a crazy install. But just to like, I've never done wigs before.
Okay.
But for the event that I had like a slick back kind of look with like a curly pony. So like my hair was like caked in gel, blah, blah, blah. So she couldn't even really do anything. And so I was like, oh, never mind. I'll just figure out how to do it myself. So she gave me the hair, but she's like, you said you want to cut your hair. Why don't you cut it here? And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, we're in London. You can cut it anywhere.
That's very true.
It's
of
so
all
true.
the places for a black woman to get ahead and stay here, do it in the capital.
Yeah. She was like, cut it now. Cut it today.
Yeah, today.
Yeah, like,
escalating.
No, 100%. And so like, my brother was around as well, so she was like, we'll go, let's go. So here I am with like this headpiece attached to my hair on the bus, like, oh my God,
what are we doing?
Where are we going?
What's going on?
Genuine. And so we got to a barber shop and I didn't even know how to ask. I was like, James, like my brother.
Someone please
I was like, talk to him, tell him. I don't know what to say.
I don't know what
and so he was like, can you cut my sister's hair off? And the guy was like, you want me to cut your hair off? And I was like, I think so.
Yes.
He was like, okay. So I took off the attachment.
Yeah.
And he literally was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah. And then he just literally just picked. And I was like, ah! But then the first cut, my overwhelming emotion was relief.
That's how you know you're right.
Oh, for sure. Like,
because you know how some people sometimes have
there's not 1 second of my
regret.
big chop that I have regretted. As soon
That's
as
how you know.
Because he didn't even waste time. He wasn't like, oh, you should. He was just like, bang. And as soon as it was gone, and like he just started putting the clippers through.
Yeah, you were like, oh, thank God.
I was like, whew.
Whoa, okay. Yeah. Let's do this.
I was like, freedom. So yeah, and I had told my mum that I was going to cut my hair, but I hadn't told her when because I didn't know.
Well, you decided then.
Yeah, exactly. So I FaceTimed her on the bus back, and she was just like, and I was like, I know, it's gone. And since then, yeah, it's been great. Like, genuinely, there hasn't been a moment where I've regretted it. It's been different, I guess, as an experience. Like, I think it's more so I cut it in 1st of October 2022. Yeah. So it's been over a year. And so that was obviously winter. So, you know, I was covered up, blah, blah, blah. But I went on holiday in March. And I remember like putting on like my, you know, I didn't buy anything new. So like dresses that I'd had before and stuff like that. And trying to dress up, quote unquote. And it just felt different.
I know exactly.
Like not even
it's a new aesthetic.
Bad. Yeah, exactly.
So
not
you're
bad,
trying to work
different.
out. So when I cut my hair and I was bald, I was thinking the dynamics of these outfits look weird now.
Yeah.
So like I would have this length, if not longer, sometimes. So then I would wear a vest and the vest would just be, the whole outfit's popping because I'm doing all of this. So then my bald head in that vest, I was like, I need a jacket, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
It's finding a balance with how you look.
Exactly.
So I get it. So it's not bad, but it's
different.
just like adjusting.
Yeah.
When you cut it off, you're playing rugby at this point, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. What was the response from team?
Again, I didn't tell anyone. I cut my hair off on the Saturday. I had training on Monday, so I just walked. Like I didn't know how to say it. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it and be like, guys, I've cut my hair off.
Because then it would be too much.
Yeah. So I just sort of arrived and was like, hey everyone. Hello. And like they're all like, ah! And the people, like my mum had been to loads of matches, so many people had seen my mum. And they were like, you know, just like your mum. And I was like, I know.
That's nice.
Everyone was so supportive. They're like, it looks great.
Perfect.
Like, thank you.
Oh, cheers. Let's play.
they were so good about it because it wasn't made to be like a big deal and blah blah blah.
That's sometimes a worry in it when you change your hair. It doesn't matter what job you're in. You could be office or you could be on the pitch. When you come in
at school,
and I used to hate it at work, and then you come in, oh my God.
Yeah. Doing the most. Like leave me alone.
I literally remember being in a sales meeting. We're behind on sales, but you don't want to spend 30 minutes of a 45-minute meeting talking about my scalp.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to close the business. Yeah. But we're not worried about the facts and the figures. Yeah. And then they'll be like, oh, I wonder what Susan in accounting would look like with braids. It's not funny. Yeah. And that is one of the things I always wonder whenever you get your hair done, especially if you're in a professional sport, that is predominantly known in white circles. Yes. What the response would be. But I'm quite proud of the team. Well done, team.
Yeah, honestly, my team is so great.
Yeah, they are.
Really, very good.
Yeah, they are very good.
they're all great.
So, well done to you. So then,
Crystal Bears, well done, I'm proud of you.
Talk to me, proud of you too. Talk to me about how you play with short hair versus with braids. Does it change how you play?
100%.
In what way?
Freeing.
Freedom.
Freeing. I didn't realise how much energy and thought was being occupied by my hair.
Exactly what you mean.
Like,
yes.
Particularly in match days as well. Like, just because, you know, I would play with like long hair and like just being aware of it and, you know, making sure it doesn't get caught in things, or like, my hair, I need to readjust it. Like, there was so many things that I didn't even realise that I was thinking about.
Yeah.
As opposed to concentrating on what am I doing, what's happening in this match, being present in that moment. So as soon as I cut it off, I was just like,
oh my God.
Oh. And then even the simple things, like after a match, like we're playing in the mud and the grass, just being able to have a shower and actually wash my hair.
Yeah,
like
imagine.
Those are the things that like when with braids you would never. You sort of try to shower like this, trying to keep them out of the way, or like put like a bonnet on or something.
Cap,
like
bonnet, anything. Yeah.
But even just that sensation of being able to sort of wash away the game and just feel like refreshed and stuff after it was so good. And yeah, it just is so much. It's just freedom to just exist. And I think exactly. And I think, you know, even when you're playing like and becoming more aware of rugby matches being televised and having larger audiences, even despite that, it's not like athletics where you can really like put your face on, put your hair down and look a certain way. Like you just can't do that in rugby. Like even if you have your hair like the most perfect hairstyle and you've done your makeup, like 5 minutes into the match, it's not going to look how you want it to. Like it's such a humbling game. So I think once I had played the first couple of games and sort of adjusted, I guess, to, this is what I look like now.
Yeah,
with short hair when I play. I was just like, okay.
But I also think that when I don't look 10-10.
Yeah.
If I don't look 10-10, but what I am doing is going into creating, doing, performing in a certain way that is 10-10, it's okay.
Yeah.
And the people around me, even if initially they're like, oh my God, give it 5 minutes, they won't care.
Yeah.
And I honestly think if you're playing at some mad level because you're just free, you're like agile on the pitch, I'm thinking to myself, I don't think anybody cares. I think everybody's looking at these tries.
Yeah.
Like, and I honestly think anybody who was bothered the first 5 minutes and they're like, oh my God, look at her run, then it's gone.
Yeah.
And there was a point where I was watching you play and shook us, first of all. Shook us, cool. Because women playing rugby is new for me. So then when I was speaking to Saji, I was thinking to myself, I really don't know many female rugby players. And I was thinking to myself, the way that you guys move is like, something in me is very like, inspired by it. I get so excited. And I was watching you and there was one moment where, because your braid was in a long plait, and it's swishing, and I was like, because I was terrified someone would accidentally like catch it. And I feel like maybe internally, you're gonna be aware of that. So if that's not there,
and like, even with my position being a front rower, like, I have to scrum, I have to maul, I have to put my head in places that people don't really want to put their head in. Like, and just not having to worry about, what if my hair gets caught? Like, just not having that means I'm less hesitant, so I can, you know, hit those rocks with more intent, or, you know, just sort of be a bit more like carefree and not so like reserved because of my hair. And ultimately then that helps me be a better player and helps me do better for my team. 100%. Which is a good thing.
I bet the other people on the other side were like, Lord Jesus, she's cut it off. Terrified.
I preferred my streamline. I was like, I'm going to be faster.
Yeah, I would be absolutely petrified. I'm like, oh no. So then talk to me about the femininity when it comes to being a rugby player and having power to, not just the way you move, but the way you are built. I can imagine when you have long hair, it maybe is an easier way to feel feminine. And trust me, I know this, my mum was a bodybuilder. She had a big old afro, huge afro. And she said it just, being feminine was a part of it, but winning was above it.
Yeah.
And the feminine argument usually would stem from people outside of herself.
Yeah.
It wasn't an argument that she would have within herself,
Yeah.
but then when you're on the stage and you're doing all of these different types of sports that some people will deem as masculine, I feel like that maybe played a part in your decision making when you decided to cut it off.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, not at all. And I think that was probably the biggest, I guess, reason why I kept delaying cutting it off. Because I was like, oh, like, I'm just gonna have short hair, like, what am I gonna look like? And especially with playing rugby and like working in hospitals, those aren't things where you can be all made up and almost like compensate for your lack of hair or
I get it.
shortness of your hair. So I was very aware that, like, am I comfortable in presenting myself in all aspects of my life henceforth with short hair, possibly no makeup, maybe some nail polish, but like nothing else really. Like, do I still feel like I can exude that, you know, feminine, confident, you know, version of myself? And that was something that I wasn't going to know the answer to until I did it.
Until you did it,
Until I did it. And even things like my clothes, can I still wear those bodycon dresses that I like wearing? Or can I still, you know, will I still feel like I look good in like a skirt and top without hair? Like, it was just stuff that I was like, you know, not through lack of having a role model, because like I say, my mum, you know, dressed up to the nines, heels, like, we'll wear whatever, and she looks great.
Yeah.
All the time. And
Does today's episode fall a little bit close to home? Are you suffering with breakage or fear maybe you have traction alopecia and maybe could do with going to Fulham Scalp and Hair just like me and Simi? Yeah. Because since 2011, Fulham Scalp and Hair Clinic have been providing the afro and curly head community with the kind of honest and direct support that all of us need so that we can have a clear understanding of the state of our hair and scalp and all the steps that we need to follow to achieve progress. Go to www.fulhamscalphairclinic.com and use my discount code TextureTalk5 to get the help and support that you need. Let's get that hair care journey back on track. And don't forget to subscribe. I'm gonna keep saying that, I don't care. If you're enjoying the episode, it takes 1 second. Thank you so much. I'll let you get back to mine and Simi's chat. It's a good one. Okay, enjoy.
He's always been like my icon of, wow, what a woman. I want to be like her. So it wasn't a case of, oh, I don't think women as a whole can look good with short hair, but it was me. I was like, God. And I, you know, I had already gone through the whole journey of accepting my body image and like accepting that I've got bigger muscles, and, you know, that in itself sort of puts me in a masculine box, whatever that means. But, you know, that has been its own journey, and I'm, you know, come to terms with that and at peace with that. But then I was just like, okay, another
hurdle.
Another thing to add to that picture to just, you know, my Instagram bio says just because I have muscles doesn't make me a man. Because the number of times people would say stuff like that, I was like,
it doesn't make any logical sense.
Let's grow up now. Come on. Let's grow up now. Like,
let's move on.
Like, the internet has been around long enough.
A long time.
For us to see strong women with muscles who are women. Like, let's stop being silly
let that
now.
go.
Yeah, enough.
And I feel like the experience that you had when you cut it short. Empowering or anxiety?
Anxiety beforehand, empowering after. For sure. There was obviously, you know, there was probably a month where every time I'd look in the mirror, I was like, wow, I can't believe I actually cut my hair off. I was like, is this a dream? Like, I actually can't believe I've done it.
What did I do?
My hair is cut off.
It's gone.
Wow.
Okay.
It was just like shock. I was like, God, wow, can't believe I did it. But yeah, like, it was just freeing. Like, and it forces you. I feel so lucky, like, with rugby and having cut my hair, because it forces you to be okay with what you look like when you wake up.
It forces you to be okay with what you actually look like.
It humbles you in the best way. Because it's like, this is me. This is my hair, this is my face, this is my body, this is what I look like.
This is it.
Got no additions, this is me. Deal with it. And like, you know, at first maybe you're not that comfortable, but after a while I was like, okay, great, I look great, this is fine. And, you know, as I started to learn, you know, the styles that I liked in my hair, went to the barber shop a bit and like tried different, like...
She's getting comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. And like found the barbers that I like near me who like know how I like to do my hair. And like all of those things, it you know, the positives started to really outweigh any of the anxieties that I felt. Positives, even like the cost.
Yeah.
It's so much cheaper.
I know.
The time. I spend so little time on my hair now.
Yeah.
It's so good.
But I think people need to give themselves the opportunity to experience it.
Yeah.
Because the scary part, we've all been there, and I get it, it is actually really terrifying, especially when you've gotten used to, it's not even necessarily length, because I'd have like wigs that were bobs.
Yeah.
It's just the aesthetic change.
Yeah.
But I feel like once you're okay at your, what I call bare minerals, when you're okay at literally nil pois, everything else is just an added bonus. Because that's why, one of the reasons I cut off my locks, obviously, because I mashed it up with colour. Still not past that. And when I decided to go to Fulham Scalp and Hair, and they were like, yeah, no, this needs to go.
So did you go for the first time with locks?
Yeah. Eleanor literally was.
She'd have been like,
It was horrendous.
I reckon she like had scissors in her hand. She was like, let's just.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
She took some of the hair, put it on the table, and she was like, okay, so all of this is broken.
Yeah.
Fab.
Put it under the microscope.
And gasped. And I was like, what should I? No, it's okay, but it's split in the middle. Your follicle's split down the middle, so you
and you're like, how can I fix this? You're like, you can't.
You can't. She was like, you can't retain any moisture, so you will have to cut this off. So I've cut it off, and everything's fine. And then, as if that wasn't enough, her and her mother are like, don't go back to the locks.
Oh, ever?
No, not until
Okay.
I've learned how to look after my afro.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, to be fair, I don't know how to. I've swerved that. You see.
Yeah.
So I'm on my natural hair care journey. Everyone sees it on the gram, that's fine. And everyone's like rooting me on. But I've managed to skirt around the fact that I've never looked after my afro.
Yeah.
And even though I'm doing the natural hair journey thing, I jumped straight into locks.
Yeah.
Didn't I? Smart.
Yeah.
Because then I don't have to do anything. I just need to let them mat.
Yeah.
That's literally
it's
it.
so true though. Like, when I started my natural hair journey when I was 21, that's what I was like, I don't know what to do with my hair. I
have no idea.
I've never had to look after my hair in its natural state. I have no idea.
Never. And that was the funny thing to me, is that they were like, if you were told, say you get, I don't know, 2-3 years into your lock journey, you were told you can't have locks tomorrow.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I was like, I don't know, because I can't look after my afro. So they were like, please, just give us a couple of years for your afro. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So we're growing out this afro, and that's fantastic. But then I'm thinking to myself, there's so much we're doing, and I never knew you guys really even existed. I didn't even know that trichology was a thing, yet here I am on a treatment plan to stimulate new hair follicles. How did you find them?
I didn't. They found me. 100%. I promise you.
You're lucky.
So I cut my hair off. I put up the post being like, hey, my hair's cut. Here's why. This is me.
Yeah.
We move. And I was just, because I knew that the damage that had happened to my scalp in terms of like the thinning and stuff was because of braids. I knew that much. Yeah. So my plan was, okay, no more braids. Just leave it as is for a little bit.
It'll just sort itself out.
Yeah, exactly. And so I got a DM from the Fulham Scalp and Hair Clinic. Yeah. Just sort of saying, we've been following your journey. We, really love everything you do in terms of sport and stuff like that, but also like now pertaining to your natural hair journey, and we'd love to offer you a consultation and just help you as much as we can. Oh my gosh. And I was like, sure. Why not? Let me get some professional input, because I don't know what I'm doing. And so I got there, and obviously again, she looked at my hair. It was already cut at this point, but she looked at it. We took some photos, and actually I looked back at the photos now, and there's been a lot of growth and stuff.
Really? I'm excited for that for me. She took some photos.
She looked at my hair under the microscope and was just explaining things. Yeah. And just debunking a lot of myths or things that natural hair community YouTubers told us that we think is essential.
There's so much.
And just really teaching me what my hair likes, what it needs, and what it doesn't like and doesn't need. And the needs, I was surprised, was so low. So low. So low. I had already kitted out on these growth oils, these micro, those derma roller things.
Oh my God, for the edges.
Yeah. I was ready. I had my whole little routine.
A little kit.
my little
grow my hair back starts.
My like soft gel for my sponge.
Yeah, oh my God, Eleanor must have been like, no.
So she was like, okay, what does your routine look like? And I was like, okay, so I do this. She's like, stop that. And I was like, okay, so I micro needle and then she stop that. I was like, okay. I put oil on my, stop that. I was like, okay. Then I, massage in my leave-in, stop that. I was like, and then I put gel in, stop that. And then I sponge my hair, stop that. I was like,
all of it.
That's my whole routine.
That's everything.
So I was like, what do I do? She was like, right, spritz it here, put in some leave-in, don't rub it in, leave it, and that's it. And I was like,
are we sure?
But how do I style it? She was like,
it's styled.
This is your hair. It's styled.
It's done. Shocking.
Embrace the look. And I was like,
shocking.
Huh. Okay. But again, it was good because I was like, this is forcing me to love my natural hair. Like I was trying to manipulate and make it look a certain way and da 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 da.
This is actually.
She was like, no. This is your curl pattern.
Like.
It's
the fact that I wake up in the morning, I do exactly that, as you know, with the products that you're full well aware of. And this is my styled hair.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm styled. I'm ready. But it's a lot. It's a lot to not be gelling down my baby hairs and getting the eco styler to do with the thing. Yeah. You know how much I've thought in my head that until that's done, I'm not finished?
Yeah. I was sponging my hair literally every other day. And she was like, stop that now. I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is how because I saw her maybe like 6 weeks after I'd cut my hair. So I was like, oh, okay, this is my little vibe. Should I stop it now?
Stop everything.
And like literally as soon as I cut my hair, the next thing I did was buy a sponge. So I was like, they sponged it.
You do.
They sponged it in the barbershop for me. And I was like, great, I like this look. This is how I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So that was this whole thing. I was like, oh God.
It's a weird one because there's some styles that I think are really detrimental to our health. And even if the style themselves isn't how we do them is, how tight they are is. But there's some styles where I think that you can do it if you want to do it, but it's like you want to, again, go back to your bare minerals first.
Yeah.
So this is why I completely respect them saying don't jump straight back into growing locks because you don't know about how you can make your afro look cute. Yeah. And then now I'm thinking to myself, even if I'd not found them and started growing an afro, do you know how much product would be in my hair right now?
Facts. I'd have dyed my hair immediately. Because I just thought the concept of my hair just as is an afro was just not enough. It's got to either have braids in it or it's got to be a funky colour.
Otherwise,
or I've got to be made up to the nines. Like the concept of my black afro just growing out of my scalp
mad.
Just wasn't enough.
And that's worrying.
It is, but it's so deeply ingrained in, the reality of being a black woman growing up in the Western world in a white environment. Yeah. Because think of all the people you see who have natural hair. It's usually either like a buzz cut with bleach blonde or a colour or 100%. Something like that. Like
there's some extra spice.
Yeah, there's something sprinkled on to make it a bit more like this is a statement kind of thing.
Yeah, this is
as opposed to
as opposed to this is just my afro.
Yeah, I just don't want to manipulate my hair in any way.
No, and when I first cut my hair a while back and I basically was growing the relaxer out and I took a photo, listen to me, my face was caked in makeup, I had a double lash, I had the contour that was dark, I think I even had a headband. I've got no hair, what's the headband for? What's my headband for? And I was like, this is the only way I will take a photo. That's like 12 different things.
Yeah.
To just make to frame it?
Yeah.
So it is, somebody's not like, oh, she just has an afro.
Yeah.
But then in my head, I'm thinking to myself, I'm sat here this morning, did my hair, and because this is how I have to be. Yeah. I can't stray from this. I have meetings with Eleanor and treatments regularly. I can't. She'll know.
She does know.
She'll know. She's on the Instagram. She'll know. So I'm accountable for myself because I have to now make sure Eleanor's seen the progress. Yeah. I'm doing my journey and everything online. Yeah. So people will know if they're like, oh, there's a lot of product in here. Someone will drag me. Yeah. And as a result, it means I've gotten used to this now. Yeah. So if there was loads of product in it, I think it would bother me. Yeah. I think it would irritate me. Yeah. And that's where I would like a lot more people to get to so that it's a choice. Yeah. I don't want to drag people if they want to do that particular type of curl definition, fine, whatever. Yeah. But make sure that it's a choice. Yeah. and not that you feel like you're ugly if you don't.
Yeah, and even like, so I had my braids done a couple of weeks ago when I was in Nigeria. I was there for my cousin's wedding. And I pretty much knew that I was going to get my hair braided in Nigeria, because why wouldn't you? Like,
I was like,
it's really, like, you know, they're really good, it's really cheap, it's really affordable. But I also, you know, when I was thinking about what I was wearing for the wedding and stuff, I packed all the products and stuff for my natural hair, because I was like, if for whatever reason I can't get my hair braided, no problem. Like, it's not the end of the world.
It's not an issue.
And, you know, even having these braids in, these are the first time I've had braids since my big chop. So I think, no, actually, the last time I had braids was September 2022. So it's been maybe like a year, couple of months. And I'm enjoying having braids, and I really am loving them. And I love the look, and I love the fact that it's different.
You look fantastic.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But I think the difference is, and I think the part that I'm so appreciative of this journey is that if these feel like they're too much, or when I'm playing with them, I'm like, no, there's too much tension in my head, I will just take them out.
And there's no qualms about that.
And once they're out, we're back to my natural hair. Like, I don't feel that same pressure of, right, okay, so these are going to stay in at least like 2 months. They've got to last 2 months. And then I've got to have my hair appointment the next day.
The next day. You have to literally use one evening with your afro, and it's in the morning.
And I don't feel that same
fear.
Exactly. You know, I don't know how long we can keep these braids in. I've had them in for a couple of weeks. I think, you know, I'd be surprised if I keep them in for another 4 weeks. But I think as a maximum, I'll keep them for 6 weeks. And then once they're out, they're out. And that's just that. And like, it'd be like, oh, this was cute for a moment.
Yeah, this was nice.
And then, you know, further down the line, if there's another occasion, or even if there's not, if I just want to change up my hairstyle, I'll do it for a short term, and then let my hair just recover and just breathe and just
be.
Yeah, just be. Like, I don't feel, you know, because I don't think these styles are inherently, you know, they're not the best, but they're not inherently like, oh, you braid your hair one time, it's all going to fall out.
No, that's not.
The issue is how long we keep the styles in, how tightly we do them, and how frequently we do them, and
it's also
the
weight
nature
of them. Something I'm learning from Eleanor is the weight of them versus the strength of your hair. So I haven't seen your natural hair in person, but I have a very sneaking suspicion it's just as strong as mine.
It's edges never work for me.
My edges, you open a window, they're gone. But like, there's nothing I can do about that.
My sisters have real, like, silky smooth, like, they lay their edges and it's beautiful.
No, that's
mine are struggle. Like, I literally have to cake them down, and even then they're like trying to like, and I just was like, you know what? It's just not for me.
The bulk, the bulk is strong, which means if you have, this is what I'm trying to understand, and Lord, hope I'm right, otherwise Eleanor would track me. But if your hair has a certain strength and integrity, then it means that if you're then adding something that is very lightweight to them, it's okay. The issue is when you have people with really thin hair naturally, and they've got these big faux locks, these big hefty box braids, and you're like, sis, no, it's not in your car.
With like these tiny, like
the tiny, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
You've got 3 hairs holding
and you've decided to weave those into a big old no. And these are the decisions that I just want us to have a little bit more insight on. That's why I'm really grateful that you had your journey and are having your journey in the public domain. Because I want more people to know about trichology in our community. I want more people to see people like us doing it, to be like, oh, we're normal people. Like, it's not just something for, wealthy black people.
And a big reason why I wanted to be so open about, you know, when the opportunity arose to talk on TV and produce like the stuff that I did with Sky, a big reason I was so keen to do it was because I feel like within the black community, it's still such a taboo topic in the sense of it's embarrassing.
It is.
I didn't want to admit that, you know, I was a 27-year-old with bald patches across my head. Like, it's not something that you really want to openly disclose. And you don't want to be out showing it off and like going through your journey in public. You know, but I think, and that's what led me to think, hang on. There are lots of black women who do sports. So if I'm having these issues and I'm having these like problems, you know, there must be others. And also, like, sometimes I'd be watching matches, so I'd be watching other rugby matches, and I'm seeing, you know, some of the other girls from like South Africa, France, or whatever, black women who've had their hair braided, and I'm seeing the bald patches. So I'm like, you're literally going through exactly what I'm going through. Like, are you aware of how damaged your hair is? Do you know? Do you want to change it? Do you feel like you can change? Like, it became like, as soon as I thought about it and was aware of it, I couldn't not see it.
Same.
And so that's what prompted me to talk to other athletes in other domains.
That was great.
Thank you. So I spoke to Sadia as well. Spoke to my friend Jazz, who she's the first person I knew in real life to do a big chop. Yeah. But she's very unattached to her hair. Always has been.
I could tell the energy in her interview was very much like, it's not deep.
Yeah, and it's always been like jaw dropping to me. Yeah. Like, how can you just cut your hair? And like the story of how she cut her hair. So she had her hair braided. She used to have this big, thick, beautiful afro. Yeah. Like, honestly, it's stuff of dreams. And so she had her hair braided one summer. And so, you know, it got to the time that she wanted to take her braids out. And she texted me being like, oh, I can't be bothered to take these braids out. And I was like, I know, it's a nightmare, but like, is your mum around? Maybe ask her. Like, I was like, have you cut them? Like, telling her to like cut them to make it quicker. And she was like, okay, fine. So I left her a few hours, and then she texted me being like, Simi, I've cut my hair off. I was like, haha, I know, taking braids out is so annoying, right?
Simi, no.
And she was like, no, my hair's gone. I was like, you're a liar. She FaceTimed me with no hair.
It's gone.
Her hair, she took each every braid.
From the root?
Just cut it. She cut her hair off. I was like, I cannot believe what I've seen. And she was like, yeah, I just couldn't be bothered, and I've always wanted to cut my hair anyway, so.
Okay.
I was just like, Jazz.
I'm not there yet.
And she, honestly, and the next day she just posted, she's like, yeah, my hair's gone. This is my new look.
Oh my God.
And, like, I could not wrap my head around the
freedom in which you just went at the root.
Yes.
But I do like that.
I loved it, but it just was so shocking to me. I couldn't believe it.
I think there's a lot of things
unbelievable to me
that I would like to see happen more like that.
Yeah.
Things like that.
It was just so run of the mill. Yeah, just
exactly. Because then for the little black girl that's very attached to her hair, her length, and maybe that hair or length isn't healthy, she could see that post and be like...
And even like Jazz at this point was like a public figure. Like she'd been successful, like, and a big part of her brand was her silhouette, which included her afro. So I was like, I can't believe you've done this. This is unbelievable to me.
But it was
crazy.
It's like highlighting that it's funny. You want to have this balance between, I love my hair and I'm obsessed. And trust me, I'm obsessed. Yeah. But I am not attached to it if I need to make a decision.
If it's to the detriment of my literal like scalp and hair health, then you know
I have to do it.
Yeah.
And like finding that balance is really hard, but doing it with support and having trichologists like Fulham there, it's changed everything for me.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like I'm on my own.
It equips you going forward as well. Yeah. Because if you just sort of, you know, if your car breaks down, you don't just sort of open the bonnet yourself and think...
Right! But we've been opening the bonnet for years.
Exactly. And then when things go wrong further down the line, or you start seeing, you know, encountering other problems, like let's say like postpartum shedding or whatever, like you're just not equipped to know how to deal with it because you've just not been given that expert advice, right?
It's true.
So it's the exact same with this. Like, I just feel like if you learn everything from the ground up, so, you know, while you're regrowing your hair, learn what it likes, learn what you need and what you don't need, and actually learn how to take care of it and sort of the signs that, oh, actually, you might need to do this or pull back on this. If you learn that in conjunction with, you know, growing your hair, it will put you in good stead for the rest of your life, right?
This is what we're doing right now. And the fact that I'm doing it, it's funny because I'm thinking to myself, I'm doing this late, I'm bloody 30. Meanwhile, my mum's like, she was like, you're lucky. You'll have a big old afro in the next 3 years and it'll be healthy because what we've done is we've been growing it in a stimulated scalp.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm thinking, you know what, better late than never. Yeah. And then you learn a lot by proxy. Yeah. Because my whole brand realistically is built on my lack of knowledge. Yeah. I know nothing. But then now I'm like, I know some things. Yeah. I know some things.
Exactly.
From speaking to Eleanor all the blooming time. Yep. And that now is helping me to be able to then feed little nuggets of knowledge to other people. The thing I really want now is for people to get up and go. Yeah. No, I'm the same in terms of like, so a close friend of mine went through, she had cancer, she lost her hair through chemo, all of that. Yeah. But it actually coincided with the same time that I cut my hair off. Yeah. So this whole like regrowing our hair and like learning, he's doing it together. And like, I don't think she's been to a trichologist, but every time I go, I'm like, guess what they told me? I get so
And she was like, oh, I bought this. I was like, don't use that. No. put the oil down. And she wanted to like box dye hair. I was like, ah! I was like, Chris, let's not do this.
No.
Please, no.
Next time that ever happens, give them my number.
Literally. So it's actually, it's nice to have like a community and like that openness of, I'm going through this too. What's working for you guys? I don't know what's working for me.
Yeah.
Or, hey, you know, I know that you're trying to regrow whatever, or your hair's thinning. You know, this is what I found, you know, makes it worse. Like maybe to try and stay away from this, and
don't do that.
all of those things. Like,
yeah, and it's nice. I want more people to have the revelation moments that we've had.
Yeah.
Because it changes everything.
Yeah.
I think it makes it less stressful.
Yeah, 100%. And like, I look at my sisters who are still like dealing with their hair and doing all sorts, and my sister's like, she's staying with me and she's like, oh, wash day. And I was like, do you know how long my wash day is? 15 minutes.
Literally?
25 if I deep condition.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's
and she's like, I hate you. And I was like, cut your hair off, join me.
Join me. Like, I want more people to join us.
The ease at which I'm like, when people stress about that, I'm like, cut it off now.
Yeah, cut it off. Cut it off and then start again with the right practices, with good health and a good foundation.
Yeah.
And then when you play with professionals.
Yeah.
Let's not play in the bathroom anymore, kids. Because we just end up scalping ourselves or cutting off our locks.
Let's not.
Thank you so much for coming and talking to me.
No, this has been so much fun.
This has been so much fun.
I love talking about hair.
I love it. Honest to God, I'm really glad I've decided to make this my life.
Yeah.
Because every day is very enjoyable for me, and this has been just a really nice way to kind of round off this like first segment.
Yeah.
And I genuinely want people to understand that it doesn't really matter what condition your hair is in. I want them to just go and just speak to someone.
Yeah, speak to a professional.
Because the worst thing is, as we both know, there is a point where you can't grow hair back. And I'm sorry, I don't want to scare anyone.
Yeah, but there is.
There is. And I didn't get there. I went before.
Yeah, same. Same. And I was like, please tell me this is going to grow back. She was like, yeah, that'll be fine. And I was like,
see? Thank you so much.
No problem. This has been so fun.
Until next time, I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.